Finally, the Verd has come back to the PMC. Except I haven't really come back to the PMC. The league has just started. Anyway, g'day, you filthy jabronis. It's your boy, the Verd here. Now, people always ask me, the Verd, how can you be so good at drafting? How is that even possible? And I say, I just pick Pokemon, and they seem to work. And they say, well, how do you do it? And I'll be like, sit down, son, and I'll tell you. So today, I am sitting down with you jabronis, and I'm going to explain to you how my really insane mind works when it comes to drafting teams. This team, I feel, is one of the better ones that I've drafted. I've drafted some real bad teams in the past, but I feel pretty good about this one, actually. It's turned out better than I initially expected it would. Very excited to see how it goes. There are a few holes in the team that I can't exactly fill, but basically the way that it was broken down with the PMC this season was that Tier 1 Mons were worth 180 points, Tier 2 Mons were worth 140 points, Tier 3 Mons were worth 100 points, Tier 4 Mons were worth 80 points, and Tier 5 was worth 40 points. So definitely a mix and shake-up when it came to the points, but some things that were initially Tier 1 dropped down to Tier 2, and I was able to get some budget picks, and I had a pretty good plan initially, so I'm going to just break down how I was doing. It's time for story time with the Verd. So, you know me, I am the PokeTubers World Heavyweight Champion, and I have recently taken over a weird rogue indie wrestling corporation known as the PMC. Really weird, called the Pokemon Masters Cup. Don't know why, but they needed some good wrestlers for me to put on every night, and they needed a really good spokesperson. And so that's me. I'm the spokesperson, and these are my wrestlers that I'm bringing to the PMC to wrestle under me, and hopefully to get us the PMC Championship. So kicking things off, as you can see on your screen, my very first pick of the draft was Booker T. Can you dig it, sucker? Now, the reason why I picked Booker T, mainly it was for value. Starmie in this format is worth 140 points, which means that I save 40 points and get what I believe to be the best rapid spinner in the game as it stands right now. The reason why I put it above Excadrill is because Excadrill can struggle to get rapid spin, and in this format is a lot easier to counter, whereas Starmie has that base 115 speed, decent special attack, some fantastic abilities, like definitely Natural Cure and Analytic are the two that I go with. Eliminate's just not something you use in competitive battling, but Natural Cure obviously can make it a very good defensive Pokemon, and Analytic is fantastic for punching through walls if your opponent doesn't necessarily have a counter. Its stats are pretty well rounded. You could run it defensively if you need to, but it is more suited to an offensive kind of playstyle. Booker T is the captain of the Tampa Bay Frogadiers for this season. He will be the main spinner, obviously, for the team, clearing out the hazards, but also one of the main wall breakers, just blasting through teams with that base 100 special attack. And it feels good. Booker T, he's going to be putting in the work for us. So, something that I knew paired really well with Booker T, appreciated what Booker T could do for him, and also Booker T appreciated what this guy could do for Booker T. So my next pickup was a guy who used to be on SmackDown, but is now with the PMC, Kevin Thorne. Ferrothorn. Now, the reason why I went with Ferrothorn for this season is because it is a fantastic pairing with Starmie. Those two go together like just anything you can imagine that is an analogy there. Ferrothorn is weak to fire, which Booker T completely swallows. It's also weak to fighting, which again Booker T deals with, and Booker T himself is weak to electric and grass, which Ferrothorn can easily deal with. Ferrothorn also has access to the Iron Barb's ability, which combined with a Rocky Helmet can make any physical attacking Pokemon's day a living nightmare. Also with that, you have to factor in that He has access to both hazards, so Stealth Rocks and Spikes, as well as T-Wave, Gyro Ball, Power Whip, like Bulldoze, Leech Seed, so many options for this thing. Very, very versatile. My main hazard, Pokemon Hazard Stacker. Fantastic wall. Might run it offensively a few times because, as you can see, it has a fantastic base 94 attack that I wouldn't mind exploiting every now and then. So we'll see if I can do that with Kevin Thorne at some point. So I came to my next pick. Now, this is where things changed for my entire draft. I had a set plan, and this is where, you know, things change and you have to make the best of a bad situation. So the next pick I wanted was Talonflame. Unfortunately, the Sydney Crocodiles and Sharpedo, they sniped that. So Sharpedo, round 1, I'm coming for your neck. Alright? So I was like, okay, cool, I'll just pick up Charizard X. Fantastic Mega, breaks through walls, very, very hard to stop. Just before I was about to pick it, Misty of the Misty Drapions, she picked it. So Misty, you're also on the list. Funnily enough, these are my 2 first opponents in the PMC, so I will gladly crush them to start my season off. So it came back to me and I was like, crap, okay, the 2 things that I wanted were taken. What can I do to make this work? How can I fix this up? And I decided to go with something that was kept, like, nobody had picked it by the 3rd round, and I was like, damn, how has nobody picked this by the 3rd round? This is an insanely good wall breaker, possibly the best wall breaker in the game. And I feel that it is worthy of a first pick, and I was definitely happy to take it in my 3rd pick. So my 3rd pick was this beast, Brock Lesnar. So I was amazed that this thing was kept until round 3. This is an insanely good wall breaker. Kieran Black is phenomenal at what it can do, busting through those walls, just decimating opponents, doing what it has to do to get the job done. Base 170 attack is ridiculous. Pair that with a base 120 special attack, it's breaking through everything. Has great HP, only needs like 40 investment, and it can easily set up subs forever. Has a very nice speed set to it. It's just all round very, very good stats, and only really has a couple of weaknesses, which are actually dealt with by Ferrothorn plus Starmie. So pairs with them great. It is an incredibly good wall breaker, so I was stoked to get Brock Lesnar on the team, breaking through teams. It's just going to be awesome. So obviously I had to change things up from my initial plan, so I needed a new fire type, and I always end up picking this guy. I don't know why, but I always do. And I think it's just because I feel when it comes to wall breakers, he again is one of the best, and it's not Spit Roast, it's Spit Roast's brother. Oh no, I can type, I have the ability. The Big Show. So, Emboar, I picked it once again, and the main reason why I picked up Emboar once again is, quite frankly, it is still one of the best wall breakers I feel in a draft-based format. It gets a lot of coverage, like Flare Blitz, Superpower, Earthquake, Wild Charge, Sucker Punch. It has a lot more than that. It gets Grass Knot, it gets Scald. It has a lot of options, which I find very, very appealing. It is a fantastic wall breaker, like I said, with a base 123 attack and base 100 special attack. It's awesome. Also has very nice bulk with base 110 HP, so it is an incredibly versatile Pokemon, and I am very, very happy to have Emboar on the team. Its ability to just break through opponents' teams is great, and paired with Kieran Black, they actually bust through almost the entire of Pokemon teams. So, very excited to pick up the Big Show as well. Very, very scary Pokemon to deal with, and very, very excited to see how much work it can put into me this season. So, felt that I had some good offensive picks in there, and I kind of needed a bit more defense, so I decided to pick up my Fairy type next. The Fairy type is very, very essential, I feel, in a draft format. It's very good to have a clear-cut counter to Dragons, because Dragons be scary, yo. So, my counter to Dragons was Granbull, which is affectionately called Bull Dempsey. So, Granbull was picked up because, quite frankly, it is a fantastic Dragon check, as well as just being a very, very solid Fairy type in general. Intimidate is a great ability in this format, works incredibly well, has decent defenses, has also a really scary attack stat, which makes it quite an offensive threat, possibly, for my opponents. That's definitely something for them to watch out for. when they go up against my Gramble, and I just feel that Gramble has basically all the tools that it needs to be an incredibly versatile Pokemon. Its speed stat isn't ideal, and maybe its special defense isn't that great, but you can chuck a lot into HP to deal with stuff. It can definitely be very versatile when it comes to Gramble and the kind of roles that it can fulfill in a team. It can be offensive if it needs to be, but it is mainly suited to a physically defensive role, and that's the main premise. He's one of my main physical wolves, so I'm keen to see how Bull Dempsey goes this season. So my next pick is kind of defensive but kind of offensive. It's kind of a balanced pick. I wanted a good spin blocker for my team, and I felt this Pokemon was a fantastic spin blocker that I could use, and I've never used it before in this format, so I'm kind of excited to see what it can do, and that is the Undertaker. Or just Undertaker. I'm just going to call it Undertaker. Undertaker. The Spiritomb. So, Spiritomb is something I haven't really used that much in a draft-based format. I haven't really used it that much in general, but I'm very impressed when I see the stats. Base 108 in both defenses is ridiculous. Base 92 in both offenses is also ridiculous. Like, its speed is lacking, but that's not too bad, and its HP is a little bit lackluster, but it is still a fantastic Pokemon in this format. It has only the weakness of Fairy, which I can easily deal with my Ferrothorn, which is awesome. I also am packing like fantastic moves such as Foul Play, Sucker Punch, Shadow Sneak, Pursuit, Will-O-Wisp, Carmine, Dark Pulse, Shadow Ball. It's got some options there. I don't really use it, so I've got to discover maybe some more hidden gems when it comes to this thing. But I feel the Undertaker is going to be a very, very good member for the team. But it's time to jump to the second half of our draft. Alright, congratulations. We have gone through at least the first half, and it's time to get to the second half. The last 5 picks for your Tampa Bay Frogadiers in this season of the PMC. And as you can see, there is a dinosaur standing in front of you. A dinosaur by the name of Tyler-Rex. Now, Tyrantrum fell to pick number, what was it, 7 for me, and I was amazed. This thing is scary. Sure, special attack, special defense, not that great. Don't worry, you never really need them. The things you got to focus on here is a decent HP stat, a decent speed stat, a ridiculous attack stat, and a solid defense. Tyrantrum can be a very solid defensive wall. It is actually one of the better bird checks that isn't a steel type, and it packs some fantastic moves. But the big draw card, obviously, to Tyrantrum, as it always has been, is its ability to absolutely bust through walls with Head Smash. Now it has the ability Rock Head. Basically, Rock Head means that it doesn't take any recoil damage. So when you go for Head Smash, you won't take any recoil from Head Smash. So it's basically just a 150 base power move with no backfiring thing. Only backfiring thing I suppose that you could add on to this would be to say that it does have a 10% chance to miss, but you know, hopefully Tyler-Rex does not miss any important Head Smashes. It also gets Dragon Dance, which makes it very scary. You can chuck a Band on this or a Scarf. Has really good moves. It gets all the Fang moves, which you can obviously run it with Strong Jaw, and it can become a very good kind of sweeper in that sense. It has a lot of options, defensive, offensive. I felt very good about getting this as pick 7, but I was even more surprised by my pick 8. So I really wanted a good electric type, and there were 2 that I saw that were very good left on the board. One of which was Jolteon, the other one was Heliolisk. Now I was really keen on Jolteon because it's Jolteon, it's great, fantastic. And just before I wanted to pick it, Lucky Lad, he ended up sniping that for me. So I was like, Lucky, I guess you've made the list now too, so you know, enjoy that Jolteon until I drop you in your neck. Anyway, so that left the clear last option for me, which was Heliolisk, otherwise known as Randy Orton. Now the reason why I call it Randy Orton, obviously it's not really a Viper, but it is a lizard, so it's pretty much close enough. So, whatever, he's slithering into my team, Randy Orton. I actually don't mind that I got Heliolisk over Jolteon. Obviously I'm not as fast, but I hit just as hard, and I actually have dual stab, unlike Jolteon. I can fire off Hyper Voice and Thunderbolt, 2 very good moves. I have access to Dark Pulse, Focus Blast, Signal Beam, a lot of really cool moves. But the big draw card as well with Heliolisk is its 2 abilities. Dry Skin means that water moves can't touch it, and Solar Power boosts a special attack. It basically gives me a Choice Specs boost if I can get the Sun. So that's the kind of scary prospect that I have there with Heliolisk, is that I can get up the Sun and just become a terrifying threat to my opponent's team. I will lose like Life Orb damage every turn, but I can still absolutely punch the team. I can't use Sand Veil, that is illegal this season in the in the PMC. So yeah, just gotta make sure I don't use that. But the rest of its stats aren't ideal. It actually has a decent special defense stat though, so I gotta keep that in mind. Maybe I could run like some kind of crazy especially defensive Heliolisk set, who knows. But Heliolisk is a really cool mon for my team. I think Randy Orton's going to be a pretty cool pick, actually. I'm excited to see what it can do. Anyway, we've got 3 picks left, guys, and I realized I could probably use a bit more bulk. I've got some good offense, could use a bit more bulk, and I needed a solid poison type. I also realized that I was really struggling against ground types, so I picked up 2 Pokemon near the end that dealt with pesky ground types in general. First one here is Dean Ambrose Louising. Now, the reason why it's called Dean Ambrose is because if you watch WWE like I do, in the last few weeks, you've seen that Dean Ambrose has some serious balls, some big balls. So that's why Weezing is dubbed Dean Ambrose. But as you can see, Weezing is a fantastic defensive Pokemon. With Levitate, it means that Earthquake will never affect it unless the thing has Mold Breaker, but nobody picked up Extra Drill, so it's no big deal. It has actually decent attack stats, and base 90 and base 85 is pretty good. But the main draw card is the base 65 HP and the base 120 defense. Very, very solid defensive Pokemon. It is my main check 2 fairy types as well as Ferrothorn. It's very, very solid at what it can do. It gets access to a lot of cool moves such as Sludge Bomb, Thunderbolt, Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split, Toxic Spikes, you know. It's got some cool options, and I feel that it can be very, very versatile for my team. It can be a defensive Pokemon coming in and dealing with stuff, but it can also be quite an aggressive offensive Pokemon, and being able to set up Toxic Spikes is very, very nice for my team. I accidentally clicked that way too early, but whatever. Here is the other answer to my ground types, which is Gligar. I picked this thing up in pick 10, and I was pretty stoked about that. Gligar is called Vampiro. If you don't know who Vampiro is, go check out Lucha Underground, and you'll understand what that reference is. Anyway, Gligar, I was very surprised to be able to pick up because this thing is very, very good defensively. It is just a fantastic little wall. He is very, very good at what he does. He just comes in, takes the hits, and can hit them right back if he needs to. He deals a fair bit of damage. He can do any job that he needs to for the team. He's a team player. He sets up rocks. He can get rid of rocks with Defog. He can Earthquake. He can Toxic. He can Roost. He can Knock Off. He can U-Turn. He's got plays for days. He has base 85 speed, which is nice. He has a base 75 attack, which isn't too bad. But the main draw card, like I said, is that very nice defense, which with the Eviolite gets boosted up very, very nicely. And that's the big thing. But also the Eviolite does make him a bit stronger on the special defensive side as well, so there's a plus in that too. It is just a very good wall, and was just another good way of checking early ground types that could be very, very bad for my team. But I felt Gligar was actually a pretty solid pickup, so I'm keen to see what Gligar can do from this season. And it comes to the final pick. Now, the only typing I didn't have at this stage, guys, was Bug. And I know what you're going to say, oh, he picked Mega Sizzle, he picked Mega Sizzle, Mega Sizzle confirmed, awesome, great, joy. I actually chose not to pick Mega Sizzle this season because I felt that somebody else would obviously pick it, and I wanted a different Mega, something I've wanted for a long time, and no, it isn't like what the freaking stream said. Okay, let me explain that story, because if you haven't known, or you do watch, the PMC did a stream, and I was out with family at the time, so I wasn't really focusing on the stream. I assumed I had 2 picks left by the time I picked Gligar, so I was going to pick Aldino, and then I was going to finish with my Mega. What I didn't realize was that I only had 1 pick left, so when I said Aldino, they assumed that I meant Mega Ordino, which I definitely did not mean, because Mega Ordino is shit. What I did mean, guys, and what did end up being my final pick for the PMC Season 1 draft, was this beast. I wanted to use this guy for so long, and he deserves the name John Cena. I normally give it to Clefable, but I'm gonna let it slide for this beast. Mega Pinsir. I have always thought this is my favorite Mega of all time. Will be forever and ever and ever. Favorite, just because like he just looks so cool. And I think Aerialate is the other big thing that really drew me to Mega Pinsir. This thing is a terrifying prospect for my opponent's teams to go up against. Obviously, being 4 times weak to rocks does suck, but generally this guy comes in and finishes games off. Base 105 speed is insanely good. It means that base 100s are all out of speed, which is great. Base 155 attack is ripping through even the mightiest of walls. I actually have a base 120 defense, so some priority moves aren't going to hurt me as much as my opponent's probably hoping they will. Base 90 special defense isn't too bad. The HP and special attack aren't that great, but the main draw card of this thing is Aerialate. Basically turns every normal attack into a flying type attack. So it says here, sorry, Pokemon's normal type moves become flying type, and they have 1.3 times the power. So basically, you get like an expert belt boost to all your flying moves. That means like return, double edge, quick attack, feint, all that stuff. They get boosted up and they become even stronger, which is pretty sweet. It is honestly pretty darn sweet. I like it. I can dig it. I can roll with it. Pinsir is going to be a really cool mod. I don't know if it's going to be my MVP for the season, because the one thing I find tricky with Pinsir is the opportunities for it to set up. Because in this counter team format, every man and his dog can run Stone Edge to beat a Pinsir. So you have to pick your moments when you can come in with Pinsir to set up and get the victory, and that's definitely something I'm going to try and do. But I feel John Cena is going to be a very good addition to the team, because it's a very scary thing for my opponents to prepare for. It can just decimate teams if they're not prepared for them well enough, and I feel that's what he's going to be able to do this season. But that is it, jabronis. That's my draft. That's all the mons that I've got. I feel good. Like, I mean, I would have liked Mega Charizard. That would have been cool. I could have got Mega Charizard Y, but I don't like Mega Charizard Y in this format. Sorry, Fizz. Just not mine. Cup of tea. I feel very good with the team, though, honestly. I wouldn't really want to change Mega Pinsir to Mega Scizor, just because I already have Ferrothorn, so it feels like I'm just doubling up there, and it's just not, you know, that solid. I feel having 2 things 4 times weak to fire. But I feel good about Mega Pinsir. I think it's going to be a really good Mega choice. I feel very good about my team. It's very offensive, which I'm not normally used to. I'm not really running as much defensive stuff, but then again, I do have Ferrothorn, Gligar, Weezing. I've got like some defensive things, but I'm excited for the season. I feel the Tampa Bay Frogadiers, we've got a very solid side, and I'm very excited to see the amount of work that we can put in for this season. But make sure you also go check out everybody who's in the PMC and all their channels. I probably won't have them in the description because I don't know them all. But go check out the PMC channel, which I will link in the description, so you can check out everyone. Also go check out my channel. Obviously subscribing is fantastic. Liking this video is even better. And then definitely making sure you can comment. Let me know how you feel about my draft, because I am always happy to hear your opinions. But I'm going to go out this bitch because honestly I'm tired of talking. The time for talking is over, guys. My team is made. I'm ready. I want to battle. So this is your Tampa Bay Frogadiers for the Season 1 of the PMC, and we are going to destroy the competition. Peace out, jabroni.